Welcome to this edition of Buncombe Life. Just let me take a second and thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching us. We hope that you learn from these programs because we sure do enjoy doing them. This edition of Buncombe Life, we thought we would take a little bit of time to explain something to you that's happened that will impact you in 2012, this election year, and for the future. The way that we elect our Buncombe County Commissioners is completely different this year. They're elected from districts on staggered terms. That means there's a lot of stuff that you need to know before you go to the polls, and then even after. The way that this came about, why? Why are we doing this? How did it happen? How did we get here? We're going to explain all that to you. We're going to show you where the districts are, show you how you can find out who you will be voting for, and the way that you'll be voting this year, which is really, really new. So this is an edition of Buncombe Life where I hope you learned something and I hope it helps you out. So stay tuned because we're going to go talk to Kurt Euler, who's going to tell us how we got here, and then we're going to hear from Trina, who's going to show us about the maps and where you'll be voting. All good stuff for you to learn. So come with me. Like I said, we're here to find out how we got where we are. As you probably know, a lot of people know this by now, some people don't, so we're here for everybody. There's been a change in Buncombe County, a change in how our political body is elected, how the Buncombe County Commissioners are elected, how many are elected, where they come from, and what their terms are. Now, I've got Kurt Euler here with me. He is the Assistant County Attorney, correct? Associate. See, I don't know these people. Associate County Attorney, sorry, Kurt. And he's going to explain how we got where we are. And that's something that a lot of people don't understand. This was not something, and correct me if I'm wrong, this was not something that the Buncombe County Commissioners requested to have done. They didn't request to have additional commissioners added to Buncombe County, but it was something that was done to them, to this county.
Yes, there are basically, under the North Carolina general statutes, there are 100 counties in North Carolina. Right. And in each of those, they have certain powers. And one of the things that the General Assembly does is has the power to change how the Board of Commissioners is constituted. There are basically two methods. One, the Board of Commissioners can request that change, and they
Right.
do so by requesting the change and then having a referendum by the elected voters.
Right.
The other way to get that change is to have a local act passed by the General Assembly.
Mm-hmm.
This latest round of changes to the Board of Commissioners was done by a local act.
Right.
However, historically, Buncombe County has had the commissioners change numerous times, both through local acts and through referendums.
Mm-hmm.
Back in I think it was 1963, we only had 3 commissioners.
Oh, I remember. I don't remember 3. I have to say I've been here a long time, but I was only 2 in 1963, so I don't remember 3 commissioners.
That's right. Yes,
Yeah.
they had 3 commissioners, and they basically had a local act, much like the one that we just had, that was just passed,
Mm-hmm.
where they basically had 3 commissioners, and the chairman was basically acted as the full-time manager of the county affairs, and that local act also set the salaries. In 1974,
Mm-hmm.
the Board of Commissioners passed a resolution requesting a referendum, and the voters approved said referendum, which increased the commissioners from 3 to 5.
5. Now that's where
Right.
I pick it up. I remember 5, and I can remember when the chairman was also the county manager.
Right, and then they also had a local act in 1977 where the majority of the board would help appoint department heads, and it used to just be the chairman that was the one who appointed that. And then in 1983, we had another change where the board consisted of the 5 members and and it would be a county manager form of government. And also the board would be able to set their own salaries.
I remember that. I
Right.
do remember that.
And then the last change that we had was on August 7th, 1984, where the commissioners once again passed a resolution requesting a voter referendum over whether the chairman will be elected at large by the voters as opposed to elected from the board members.
Right, and that's how we do it here.
Right, and that was that. And then, in May 19th of 2011, which affects us for this upcoming 2012 election,
Right.
that's when the General Assembly passed another local act which significantly changed how our boards constitute.
And that's the one, and no, you did not miss an election, you did not miss anything. We did not request that. That is just something they decided that they would do for us, and now they have done that. And so that's why we want you to know that things are different. This board is going from 5 to 7.
Right. There are a number of changes based on this local act. First thing is that once again the chairman of the board will be elected by the county on an at-large basis. So that means everybody will be able to vote for the chairman of the county commission. However, and this person will be elected every 4 years, pretty much is the same way it's been
Right.
since 1984. However, the real changes are going to be as to who are the actual commissioners. Essentially what's happened is Buncombe County has been divided into 3 House districts, okay? And that would be the 114th, the 115th, and the 116th.
Right.
And essentially under this local act, we will be electing our commissioners based on where you live and where the commissioners live. So in each House district, we will elect 2, in this upcoming election, we will elect 2 commissioners from that district. Those commissioners must live in that district, and only the people who reside in that district shall vote for that person.
Now, that was very complicated. Hang with us, because we're going to, in just a few minutes, show you a map. We're going to show you the districts. We're going to show you where they are. But I want Kurt to finish telling us this, because this is something that we wanted to make clear to you is something that the legislature chose for us, and something that then we're trying to explain to you, because it all happened very quickly. But it is a huge, huge change in the way that you elect the commissioners who govern the county. So, like you were saying, 2 from each district,
There will
3
be
House
two
districts.
from each of the House districts. And in that, the highest vote getter in the general election will be elected to a 4-year term, while the second highest vote getter will be elected to a 2-year term. Okay, so then come 2014, the 2-year term in each district, that one person will be running again for re-election to a 4-year term. So essentially there will be elections every other year for one of the commissioner
Every
seats.
2 years.
Every 2
Every
years.
2 years. Thus, staggered terms. We've never had that in Buncombe County here before. And not to say that's good, not to say that's bad, it's just something different and something that we wanted the folks to understand.
Sure. And what people just need to remember is that only the voters of that district, so if you live in the boundaries of the 115th district, you can only vote for those 2 commissioners and whoever's running for chairman.
Right.
And so
No,
on.
no longer can you vote for 5 or unless you're,
Exactly.
7. You vote for 2 and a chairman.
Exactly.
That's a big, big change.
And only, once again, the person has to reside in that district for running that. So you can't live in the 116th and then run in the 115th.
Right.
And it's basically set to be this way until the census in 2020, or if there's a referendum in the meantime.
Right. Now, what happens in the only impact that could really happen in the 2020 census is the boundaries could change.
Right, if Buncombe County grows in size or whatnot, but it's pretty much the boundaries are set.
Right. So I know all that sounds very complicated. Stick with us. We're going to show you a map, like I said, and try to explain that better. But the reasoning for this, do you have any idea what the reasoning on behalf of the legislature was?
Well, essentially, the local governments or county governments and statewide are constituted in different ways, and for whatever reason, the General Assembly felt that district elections would be something that they want to see in Buncombe County as
It would
opposed to at
enhance the
large.
way the county is governed.
Right. I think the idea is that you have certain districts, so the voters of that district will have a bigger say, so the people in the 115th will have their own representative to look out for their interests, as opposed to somebody who's looking out countywide.
Right. And just so you know, of the 100 counties, I don't know if there's any counties left that have 3 commissioners. I know there are several that have 5, a lot that have 7, some that have 9, and some that have 11. Many that have districts, and many that are on staggered terms. So we're not unusual.
No, not in the least bit. It's, as I said, it's a change. It's a change that's happened in the past, and there will be a change in the future sometime.
That's right. But we want you to know, when you go to the polls, what to expect. So stay tuned next while Trina and I show you what the ballot's going to look like, what the maps look like, and give you some sense of how you can find out which district you're in, and of all the candidates running, which ones you may get to vote for. So stay tuned next.
The W&C Farmers Market is located on a 36-acre site overlooking the beautiful Blue Ridge Mountains and Biltmore Estate. It is located in Asheville, North Carolina, which is within a 2-hour drive of a tremendous volume of horticultural products. There are 3 kinds of produce markets: wholesale, retail, and farmers. The W&C Farmers Market has a blend of all 3. We are located in the heart of the apple and tomato production areas and close to the South Carolina peach production area. You can find the whole alphabet of fruits and vegetables at the W&C Farmers Market, from apples to zucchini, as well as mountain crafts, jams and jellies, ornamental plants, flowers, baked goods, and honey. The market is a wonderful place to find farm fresh, vine ripened, and tree ripened produce at a reasonable price. W&C Farmers Market is conveniently located off Interstate 40 at exit 47 and off Interstate 26 at exit 33 in Asheville. Our address is 570 Brevard Road. Whether you are looking to stretch your food budget, entertaining friends, or family, please come out and visit the market and make it a regular part of your place to shop for fresh produce.
Today is Saturday. Today is Saturday. Salad on Saturday, fruit on Friday, throw a ball Thursday. Water Wednesday, touch your toes Tuesday. Let's move Monday, swap us next Monday. All the healthy children eat well and move a lot. And move a lot. And move a lot. Eat well and move a lot.
60 minutes of physical activity a day and eating well can help get your child healthy. So keep them active and eating well every day.
Skip a rope Saturday, freeze tag Friday, tap dance Thursday. Whole grains Wednesday, try a veggie Tuesday. Let's move Monday, split the sweet Sunday. Eat well and move a lot. Today is Saturday. Today is Saturday. All the healthy children, all the healthy children.
Get ideas. Get involved. Get going at letsmove.gov. That's letsmove.gov.
I'm glad you stuck with us, because now we're going to get down to it. Now we're going to explain all that you've heard so far. Trina Parker is the Director of Election Services, and thank you for joining me because she's the brains behind all of elections that go on here in Buncombe County.
Careful with that.
So she's going to help us explain this, what can be a very complicated change, but not really, because we're going to give it to you from your perspective as a citizen. How does the change that Kurt attempted to explain to us, how does that impact us? And where I really want to start with, Trina, is we've had districts this is Buncombe County, it's a map of Buncombe County. We've had districts before, but they've never been applied to county commissioners. They've always been House and congressional. This particular one shows House districts, correctly?
Correct.
Right? House districts.
Correct.
And some people pay attention to that, some people don't. I think they're going to pay more attention this time because, like Kurt told us, now these same districts you see here apply to the county commissioner race.
That's correct. Normally, historically, voters have been used to choosing all of their commissioners from all of the county area.
Right.
And now they're going to be asked to choose their representatives out of those 3 districts.
Right. And the way that will impact you is, let's say that you live in the city. So you live somewhere in this, I don't know, green, this color here. However that appears on your screen, it looks green to us. Sometimes that changes on TV. Here, if you live in here, then that's District 1, and the people that have applied to run for office out of District 1 had to live in District 1.
Correct.
For you to vote for them, you have to live in District 1.
Correct. In order to be a candidate for this district, you had to live within this green boundary.
Right. And then if you live like I do in Fairview, I live out in here, I couldn't tell you exactly where, but somewhere in this area, then my district sweeps all over here, and the candidates that were running for this office could live anywhere in this area here.
That's correct.
And then the same over here in 3. So it's 1, I believe 2, and 3. If the way it used to be when I went to the polls to vote, and correct me if I'm wrong, I just voted for 4 commissioners on my ballot and then a chairman, and they could live anywhere and anything.
Correct. In a primary, you would have had possibly 6 to 8 choices, and you would have been asked to vote for 4. And so those 4 candidates of your party would move forward to the general. And then in the general election, there would be 4 Democrats and 4 Republicans that would face each other for those 4 seats.
Right. That's
Now,
not the same anymore.
Now it's going to be different.
Yeah.
You're only going to have a choice for 2 candidates because, once again, we have the 3 different districts. And so each party will be choosing their 2 candidates from these districts to move forward to the general election.
Right. So when I go, if you're watching this before the primary, when I go to vote in the primary, I'm going to get a ballot that's going to show just the candidates from my district, because I'm from Fairview, so I'm saying just from my district.
And it's going to be a surprise to a lot of people because, you know, the commissioners that are sitting now are known throughout the county. And if you live in Fairview, you might possibly be used, well, you will be used to voting for a commissioner candidate who might live over here.
Right.
And they might be your cousin, or they might be, you know, someone that you've known for years and years.
Right.
So we want voters to know, don't be surprised when you cannot vote for someone that you know that happens to live over here.
Right.
So in the primary, now they're going to choose 2 candidates. The Democrats will choose 2, the Republicans will choose 2. Then they will move forward to the November election.
Right.
And there'll be 4 candidates on the ballot as opposed to 8. And then those 2 from each district will be chosen.
Will be chosen. Now, that just threw a question into my mind. This is not just primaries for the, I mean, not just districts for the primary. This is districts from now on. Even in November, I'm still only going to be able to vote for the candidates who make it through the primary
Good
in
point.
my district.
Exactly. We are talking both the primary and the general election.
Right. So I can still only vote for 2. And then the chairman.
Correct. That is still separate.
Yeah, anybody can run for chairman throughout. I think we only had we have a few candidates that have chosen to do that, but they can be from anywhere, and you can vote for chairman from anywhere. So that's the only difference. Now, let's say we get through November and we have our 6. This is a whole different deal. 6 commissioners and our chairman, but they don't all They're not all, we're not going to have them for 4 years.
Right.
Explain staggered terms. That's the second part that you heard Kurt talk about.
Okay, well, this year, the 2 top vote getters will be granted 4-year terms.
Right.
And then the next in line, top vote getters, if you will, it's not a gracious way to say that, but they will get 2-year terms.
Right.
So hereafter, in 2014, those 2 candidates that didn't get quite as many votes as the top vote getters will now face an election.
Right.
Those that got the most votes this time will not face opposition again until 2014. So what happens is that we will have commissioners that will be elected in staggered terms, 3 members, then the other 3 members, then the other 3 members. So, you know, I assume the thought being that there'll always be a historical perspective, if you will, on the county commissioners. There'll be knowledge there, et cetera. So,
So
that's going to be a change as well.
Pros and cons. And depending on how you look at it, you might disagree with what was the pro and what was the con. But every year, every 2 years, there'll be an
That's correct.
election. So the commissioners won't be sitting for 4 years.
Right.
Every 2 years, you're going to have a change.
And it's going to be a different 3 seats.
Right.
So this year, Kathy and Trina and Joe will be up for election, and next year, Nancy and Joanne and Ralph will be
Yeah.
up. So of those 6 seats.
Right. So that is a completely different way than it's done now. And that's never been done here before. We've had 3 commissioners, like you heard Kurt say. Then we had 5, now we've got 7. So that's kind of changed. But we've never been from staggered terms. So that'll be interesting. We're not the only county in the state that does it. Many counties across the state have districts and staggered terms. So it's not unusual. What do you think will be the biggest impact on the voters from this change?
Well, I think I referred to that earlier in that there are people that they know that are going to be on the ballot that they've known for many years. And, you know, they may have helped them with something on their street, or, you know, they're used to communicating with these people and being able to vote for them. And now those choices will be limited.
Right.
So
So
we're going to be doing a countywide mail out to let people know exactly what district they are in and give them the information that basically we'll be sending out a map and say, look at this map and figure out which district that you're going to be
That's
eligible
fabulous.
to vote
That's
in.
really fabulous news, because I know folks are watching this and they're going, I'm listening to y'all, but that is still not hitting home with me. I don't know what you're talking about.
It won't hit home till they're standing in the booth with the ballot.
That's exactly
And
right.
so as many reminders as we can give them, we're going to try to.
Right. Our number one thing I think we want folks to know is there is a change. Don't wait until the primary on May the 8th or November to come and look at this. Look at it now.
That's correct. And the county GIS department has helped us and put together a lookup tool that I think you're going to talk about. So there are many ways. There's our website, there's the county website, there's many ways that people can begin to educate themselves on what's going to happen in the primary and general election in the county commission districts.
Oh, absolutely. Now, she referred to the map that's online, and it is really a cool thing. All you have to do is put in your address, and it'll pop up and tell you which district, the district 1, 2, and 3. So if you've watched this show and you do that, you're going to know what it's talking about, 1, 2, and 3. Because then you can remove that little box and it will show you this map, and then you can find yourself on this map, because this is Buncombe County, although it doesn't really look like it to everybody.
Well, not only does it do that, but it also, after you put in your address, it will show you exactly which jurisdictions you can vote in, not only the county commissioner districts, but the House and Senate districts, your voting location, your precinct number. So there's a lot of valuable information there besides just the county commissioner
Yeah,
districts.
because the congressional districts have changed too.
They are. We now have 2 different congressional districts in Buncombe County, the 10th and the 11th.
That's right. So
Can that be another chapter?
that will be another chapter. We won't even go there today. But if they go online, they can find out. They can
That's
get the news
exactly right.
beforehand.
That's exactly right.
There's another thing coming, and that's a phone app. And not sure it'll be ready by the time you see this. It may be. Go on buncombecounty.org and find out more about that. But we are hip and happening, and you can get all this information on your phone if you want to.
Correct.
Right. So anything else, Trina, that you want people to know about this coming election? Lots of changes. This is just really one, but a big one. Big one.
Anything else I need them to know? You do your homework ahead of time. Make sure that if you've moved, that you have made that move with us. We don't know if you've moved. You have to tell us. So make sure that you're registered if you want to participate. The deadline is 25 days before the election. If you miss that deadline, you can also register and vote during the early voting session. And of course, that might be another topic for discussion for you and I.
Yeah, that's
a
right.
whole other topic.
That's
So
right.
just do your homework. It's just like going to a doctor's appointment. You know, if you know you've got a doctor appointment coming, you need to make sure you have your insurance card. You need to make sure you know when and where you're going and all of those sorts of things. So just do your homework and be sure and show up, and we'll take care of you the best way we can.
And if they have any questions, they can call you.
Absolutely, 250-4200.
There you go, you heard it here. So, if any of this at all has confused you, don't worry. You have plenty of time to figure it out, but you definitely want to vote. Don't let this keep you from voting. Voting is important and it's a privilege. And more to come. Stay tuned. You've enjoyed this episode of Buncombe Life. I know it was confusing, because let me just say it's a confusing topic, but it's an exciting topic because it impacts me and you and all of us here. So if there's any of it that you were confused about at all, give the Board of Elections a call. That number is they'll answer any questions you've got there, and they really encourage people to give it a call. Also, you can visit the Board of Elections here at 35 Woodfin Street. It's the old health building. If you know, the health center's gone from here, but the Board of Elections is here, the tax office is here, the Register of Deeds is here, and you've got free parking right here. If there's no parking here, we've got the county parking deck where it's only $1 an hour, maximum of $8 a day. So it's easy to access them online, by phone, or come down and give them a visit. We definitely want you ready for the primary election and then for the elections in November. If you're watching this and the primary's already passed, it's not too late to give them a call for the election in November. And as always, stay tuned, because who knows where we'll be next month on Buncombe Life.